I feel like I have so much to share with you just around all of the shifts that have been happening. I did a check-in through my chakras to read your energy, and I have a spread of cards that are already laid out here on the screen. You feel like a totally new person, and I want to talk about these shifts between your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, especially your throat, and your third eye. This has also got to do with your general sense of being, how you feel to me, because I'm picking up a very fresh, new sense of freedom around how you think, how you feel, even how you approach what you can't see clearly yet. Your general nervous system feels so much more at ease to me, much more at ease with the unknown. However, there's been a sense of retreat, but this sense of retreat is not how it usually presents. It's as if you've paused on expressing yourself a certain way to make room for all the upgrades that have been taking place. And I want to say on your behalf, because there's a sense that these upgrades have been taking place automatically. It's like you pushed a button, made changes where you wanted changes, changed your mind on how you want certain things to be, even how you want to feel within them, is what I'm hearing. And pushing that button has resulted in, it's as if you ordered an upgrade to the roads of your channel. So you said, the kind of information that I want to receive looks like this, looks like that, you're exploring. And so the team came in and started leveling out the road, tarring the road, paving whatever, and painting the lines on your, it's like you've got a highway now. So it's as if you used to receive a whole lot of information that was difficult to decipher, as if you were like punching around in the dark and trying to actively organize it yourself, make sense of all of it. And then once you decided, these are the kinds of things I want to do. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to scrap that kind of decisiveness that you've been enjoying in your space resulted in them being like, okay, so we're going to need to organize this road so that you can get what you want. And I actually could see all of these lanes being drawn out on the highway. I could see the change in the flow of traffic. Your flow of information has shifted just out of this new organization. So now you have less organizing to do of the information because you've retreated and allowed for the time for these upgrades to happen. I've been taking notes in my journal for what feels like maybe 3 to 4 days, because I've had times where I have a moment, it's been very busy, where I have a moment to pause, meditate, and write down what I'm feeling about the energy, and also just observe my surroundings. And these notes started off with a white butterfly. Butterflies have a way of catching my attention. And I never wrote this, but maybe about a week ago, I noticed so many more butterflies of all different kinds fluttering around in the garden, even away from home. Butterflies speak to us about transformation. This is a coming out of you to yourself. The white butterfly, what it was telling me, it's the one that delivered this information around a transformation taking place with your information. And they said that this is integration of intuition versus thought, as this relates to your creativity. 444. They said we want your thought to incorporate more intuition and your intuition to incorporate more thought. This speaks to me directly around what I picked up in your chakras when I checked in earlier, and I'll share that with you. but it's also that they're wanting you to be more mindful. So to actually receive all the information, but apply some thought, because it requires thought to use, I suppose, your ability to have recognition, for you to recognize, I just want to say, just how deep this recent upgrade is. Because what's actually happened, and I mentioned that information is more organized. So while you used to receive everything through like one huge traffic flow, hard to explain what belongs where, whatever, these lanes are now separated. You now have separate channels within yourself. And I'm going to tell you what I feel very clearly, and I see it very clearly, the reason why these channels have now been separated. And it's because you've gone back to your former self, an identity you held before this phase of your life, an identity that you tried to leave behind, a very wounded identity you used to have. Your relationship with it was wounded. Now, because of all this healing that you've done over an extended period, and I saw in your cards here, rain renewal in your solar plexus. So there's been a refreshment in how you want to show up. But also when I checked in with your chakras internally, I saw the burning desire to show up now. So I saw this burning desire to get out there and share what you have. But a fire also needs it needs time to calm down, because, and this is coming in the rain and renewal. A fire needs to calm down because we often don't know what to do in the sudden moment that a fire kind of takes off. So you're dealing with this feeling. But the reason you have this burning feeling is because, and in your third eye, this was very funny. When I checked in with your third eye, I heard that that music that starts at the beginning of movies, and I looked it up. It's this, I think, 21st Century Fox. That that music. And I heard it's showtime. So if they've either started, for me, I feel like it started, or expected. But because you're going to be receiving so much more information. But the difference with this information is that it's allowing you to channel different sources, if I could put it that way. It's different types of information. So I say different in terms of not the quality. It's all good quality. It's all gold. But you used to have this one-dimensional sort of approach to everything you have. Because it was all mixed into one road, you wanted to treat it all one way. Whereas what's emerging from your pre-identity, your past identity, there are aspects of you that are emerging, coming up, not so much for healing, but for acknowledgement, for the value that they hold. And so what's happening is, it's as if you ran away from that former version of yourself. You wanted to leave it behind. And now, through this openness, you're going back there to get that information, bring it back into your present, and apply all of the new ways of being to that information. And so this is healing on a level, but rather than healing those wounds, what it's doing is healing your impression of them, to bring them forward for others to benefit from. So your pre, I keep wanting to call it a pre-identity, is being integrated into your current version. So it's no longer a former version you want to leave behind. You're getting those parts of you back. You're bringing them back into your present. You're reclaiming your past. And when I touch on this topic, I get emotional. I get emotional because this is such a huge integration of you. This is such a huge acknowledgement of your journey. And not rejecting yourself. And it says so much just about how much your nervous system is currently actually able to accommodate, because you're staying in the present, but these messages are coming through for the purposes of service. And you're saying to the former version of you, thank you so much, because I understand now why I needed you. I understand now why I needed you. You're validated. This new upgraded, let's call it a road, okay? Like multi-lane, everything. It's got all the things. This new road is also organizing information in such a way that it will all flow in. But that sense of overlap you used to have is no longer there. So you know exactly what it applies to as it enters. You know what it belongs to. And I hope I'm explaining that appropriately. You know how to allocate that inflow of information. This is also speaking to me quite strongly about the power of intention, because I see the changes to your crown chakra and your third eye as well. The power of intention, literally, when you're in a position where you're making decisions that are aligned with your desires and what you want, the changes start to take place automatically. So your body, and this reading does feel very structural. It feels like a very technical reading. When I say technical, because I'm feeling very much into the body, the physical body, and how it is actually upgrading and shifting to allow for all of this. Because like I said, your nervous system is at ease. Your nervous system is at ease. And look in your heart chakra here, I've got moon cycles. And in my notes, I have breeze, new feeling. And so there's this refreshment that's taken place within your heart center, where you're allowing for all types of feeling to take place, not judging any of these feelings, even the ones you don't understand. But because you're kind of right with yourself, all feelings are now welcome. So those blocks you used to have around, I don't want to feel this way, I don't want to show up this way, whether it's difficult feelings, whatever it is, it's all welcome, because the windows are open and it's like you can feel clearly. And so when information arrives, it's valuable. You're using it. I'm also finding you acknowledging the phases within yourself, that you are a shifting human being. The word transient wanted to come up. Transient being passing. So there's no getting stuck in a certain feeling. There's a seeing it, a feeling it, and allowing it to be there and allowing it to pass, knowing that you're not getting stuck there. You're not getting stuck there. And earlier today, in preparing for my shower, I felt like I needed to, actually, it's not even in prep for my shower, as the water landed on my body, I felt such an honoring of my body, wanting to thank it, wanting it to know how grateful I am for all it does for me, for all the things it allows me to feel, for speaking to me, for telling me when it's uncomfortable and telling me when it's at ease and telling me, giving me all this information. So I think more than anything, what's coming alive is the body, and what a servant it is to us in our lives, and how much it just wants to be appreciated and acknowledged and heard, because so much information reaches us through our bodies. So even as you feel into your heart, this is your heart. It's not some outside thing. Your body is like your portal to all of the information energetically that is arriving into your body, that wants to come into your body, that wants to be known. And so every feeling needs to be honored. 1444. And I'm recalling that the last numbers I called were 444. This is a lot of, when I talk about body work and I talk about listening to the body, this is very much a space that is now being harvested. Like all the fruits are being harvested through meditation. And so while I can never, emphasize enough the importance of drinking a lot of water and getting more sun and breath, I'm here to tell you that I'm not sure in your life whether your body has been this open to providing you with this much information. And I think that's why, those trumpets with that music that I sang earlier, it's like it's showtime. It's like the information is just, it's coming through already, and it just needs you to recognize how much, how organized, just recognize where your relationship right now sits with your intuition as compared to before. Because once you recognize it, once you become aware of it, you're going to be able to leverage off it so much more. So this is instructions for your personal life. This is instructions for your work. This is what kind of container to create when. This is new projects. This is information that arrives for other people. Just today, and I want to talk about the sacral chakra and where it is, but just today, I received a whole flow of information for people that are not in my personal life, and I didn't understand why. And it was while I was trying to sleep. And so I thought, oh, maybe this is important, maybe. And then as I tapped into the energy, I realized I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there because I was going to share it collectively. I didn't know where to put it. I didn't know what to do with it. And in that moment, there was a realization that I'm allowed to do what I want. So if a flow of information comes in for me, I don't have to acknowledge it. If I recognize that it's outside of the things that I've asked for, then I can say no thanks. I can, which is not a clarity I had before. And like I mentioned, in your sacral chakra, I had a Zen garden. Those little Zen gardens, those recreations, people have them as decoration in their homes. Those recreations of a Zen garden, where there's a stone and then there's sand and then there's the rake. That's very much meditative. And so now your creativity has really shifted into a place where, you're manifesting very rapidly at the moment. That's also in my notes, but the space where you've got space and time to meditate over what you want to create. And as you call it, as you say, I'd like to create this manifestation appears. It appears. Some of these things you're sitting with for some time, and others are things that you've been sitting on for so long, and you now understand their relevance. And you'll excuse me for jumping around a lot in this reading. There's just been a lot of information, and I just feel like it's in your general area of expression and your intuition, and there's been a huge shift. Another concept that came up was to discuss adaptability versus versatility. So for me, adaptability sounds like something that we hope we have with all these changing circumstances, which is a very, for me, 10 of Wands sort of overly burdened and just I'm tired and help me adapt kind of attitude. Whereas versatility is recognizing how many options you actually have. So very much I feel the inner child has come out to play. That's also the solar plexus energy. That's the inner child has come out to play. Not being judged the way you used to judge your inner child. It used to try and break through the surface, and then sometimes you'd knock it back. Out of people pleasing. I thought that I was going to get much softer kind of words for that, but it came out as people pleasing. And so this is not just in your relationships or whatever. This is in how you approach all your endeavors, all of your efforts. So this is becoming much more, I feel like doing this and not caring what other people actually think about it. It's all about your wishes. It's all about the areas you feel drawn to. And definitely one of these places that you feel drawn to is this past pre-identity of yours, to bring it back into the present. I also feel very much that this reintegration of your former self into your current self has a lot to do with how you used to perceive your environment, the quality of your environment, and also how you believe things should be structured. So this is coming through to me very much as a very, it feels like integrated healing is what I want to call it, of the masculine and feminine, almost at the same time, through a sudden shift in perspective. I wasn't sure if I was going to explain it this way, but this portion of this channeling came through to me in a dream. And so I channeled it in writing when I was trying to unpack the dream itself. The dream was jam-packed, but it was one portion, and I realized it had a lot of information. I thought it was for other people as well, but because there were other people in the dream. But I realized that this dream, similar to a lot of my other dreams where there are people involved, especially if it's particular men or particular women, these are around big relationships that have played around in my intuition and my heart and my life, in my waking life included. But they have lessons on my divine masculine and my divine feminine. In this particular dream, there was this masculine, and I've always had a certain impression of this masculine and how he deals with his feminine, I'd call it. And I also had a certain impression of the feminine. But then she opened up to me. And so this feels like the more vulnerable, pushed away aspects of myself, let's say from the past. This feminine came through and started communicating a lot of the truth to me about what actually was going on. I had a completely different impression, but because of how she was expressing herself so openly and so vulnerably, I could tell she was being honest with me. And it turned out that this masculine was actually causing more problems than good, which is totally against how I had perceived him. But when I take all these steps back and remove how I felt, because I felt a certain way, let's say during that time when I was forming these impressions. So my feelings were distorting the truth of the matter. And so now on the other side, and now I'm bringing it back into this integrated healing around masculine and feminine. I just want to bring it back so we don't get lost in the people. But what I realized was, the way I perceived my feelings and my intuitive hits and all that information and who I was and how I felt, the way I perceived it was distorted because of the expectations I had, one of the masculine, and also the impression I'd formed on this type of masculine. So this is this type of structure, this way of doing things, this sense of what actually I realize now is unreliability. It's unreliability masked as, something enticing, something, and I hope that you can keep up with me here, because I'm trying to explain this in the best way possible because I'm turning people into unhealed aspects of myself to express what is being healed and what has shifted. And so it's almost like my desire to have things a certain way was distorted because I was responding in a way that perhaps was not true and more reflective of my need for acceptance. And so now, with actually acknowledging this former version of myself, this feminine, and being able to access her feelings, what she wants to say, the truth of what she wants to share about this masculine, that's helped me realize that the way that masculine behaves is not what I want for myself. It doesn't suit me. It's just not what I want. To the point where it could actually leave me in this sense of despair and always hoping that someone will hear me out, to be heard. And so with that kind of structure, the masculine represents structure and order and action. In terms of how I was perceiving masculine energy, that has been healed through hearing what my own desires are wanting to express to me, through seeing what I saw in my dreams, through connecting with that sudden and unexpected truth that completely changed everything. Like, it literally rewrote the past. That moment where she shared all of that stuff and she was crying and she was broken, it literally rewrote my impression of the past. It gets a bit more deep and convoluted at this point because, and this is hard to express, but what I want to say is this masculine's behavior and the way he was showing up in his world and the things he was doing was putting children, these people's children, at a disadvantage. These children were being neglected. These children were also I was talking to their children and they felt neglected. Children directly point to the inner child. And I'm realizing that now because what was louder to me was this sense of grossly negligent behavior. And it's not funny. The dreams can be quite heavy at times. But more than anything, the way that I was perceiving my expectations of masculine energy was distorted because of how I felt and my need for acceptance. And so through hearing my intuition more truthfully and actually hearing it out and not judging all of the inputs that it was sending my way, I was able to gain very valuable knowledge from the feminine and also redeem the inner child that's been neglected through the behavior of this masculine. I'm going to read from my notes now for this part. Perhaps they'll express this in a way that's more understandable, and maybe I'll listen to this later and realize there was nothing wrong like usual, but let's see. It says, there is another type of masculine. Feels like a way you used to do stuff, a different setting and approach to work along the same lines, so the work is along the same lines, a place you used to try work in that went with a more glamorous approach to healing. Okay? You felt like this space didn't have room for you. It made you feel some kind of way. So there was never a comfort in terms of how you felt in this way of doing things. In the dream, you spent time with this feminine and realized through her need and her brokenness and feelings and of hurt and betrayal that you needn't have villainized her. She could really use someone to talk to about her trauma, her betrayals, and her hurt. You realize that she is just like you because the masculine actually is revealed as the betrayer, unfaithful, and he does things that cause more problems than good. This feels like a story has been set straight. You perceived an environment a certain way because of how you felt, but you've since grown and come upon renewed perspective. You also understand better why someone or some place didn't have the capacity to receive you a certain way before. So I definitely feel things have changed. Things have changed, and that's why you're able to fetch this former part of yourself and share that person's learnings through your current lens. This is making you more accessible. This is making you more accessible, and it's also stripping away that pressure to perform a certain way and to show up a certain way according to societal expectations. You're now setting expectations based on your wishes and the message that you want to send across. And again, there's still this sense of freedom because you're not over dictating what comes through. So you're setting an intention, again, hence all of the upgrades to allow for all of these various parts of you to emerge. This is an emergence. Authentic emergence came up. I'm going to put the meaning on the screen. Authentic emergence has come up this week. And it's coming through as the authentic version of yourself. Because now you're really connecting you're connecting clearer to what authenticity actually means. This is coming through now in this present version of you because there are not all of these unacknowledged parts of yourself that you were pushing down. And I sense this rejoicing from your inner child. This rejoicing from your inner child. We often look to the inner child and we go into extreme play. And we also don't integrate the inner child into the things that we do, our manifestations. However, now your inner child is enjoying a certain type of freedom because their opinion is being heard. Their opinion is being heard on stuff. So if someone sends you something and it's structured a certain way and you're just like, I don't feel like it should be this way. You're doing it your way. Even if these things, these expectations are coming out from yourself, you're still approaching everything with this sense of freedom. You were never held back. You were never tied down. Something else that came up it came from the Lover's card, which is Gemini energy. And the concept of adaptability versus versatility came up. And so while I know you to be a very adaptable person with all the things we've talked about on the channel, you're adaptable. But this is more something that is developed out of a need and out of circumstance. Whereas this versatility is an appreciation for how versatile you are, how many options are at your disposal. And so now this Lover's card is talking about all the choices you're making, how you're making your choices. And this has come alive through this recent period where you've hermited. But this hermit phase has come through very differently to how you used to hermit. And I also got the word buoyancy, okay? So I'll talk about that. But this felt like what I want to call hermit light. Like you're in hermit mode, but you're not. And I think I referenced this earlier and I didn't give it this term because I'm finding it in my notes. But it's like you retreated, but not fully. Retreated with a purpose, unclear of what that purpose is. During this time, these upgrades have been happening. And these upgrades have left you with a sense of buoyancy. When I looked up buoyancy, I found the upward force exerted by a liquid on an object immersed in it. And so while you used to get so deeply immersed in the water, in your water energy, or your that place where you feel very deeply and you're swimming, and there was also sometimes a craving to just get some breath outside of the water so that you can see clearly what is actually the information that's coming through to you. Because obviously when you're very deeply submerged in the water, it can be very difficult to actually put these things into words because your thought is not well integrated in that state that you're in. Thought is more easily integrated when you are in air. But now I feel like, again, going back to thought versus intuition and this integration that we started off with, we talked about. This is you sitting on the water. You're buoyant. So you're sitting on the water and the water is surrounding you and you're able to observe it. And you are able to immerse yourself in it. But already this is like, as you immerse yourself into it, the pressure of the water rises. And so you're sort of you're supported by the water, but your thought is available, is what I'm trying to say. Your thought is available even though you are in the water. And also another aspect of this specific symbolism, because I was seeing it, you're able to kind of push yourself further into the water when you want to. So you have this option. You have this option of going deeper, but going in doesn't mean you get totally immersed in it and cannot find your way back up. So this is your versatility. You can actually place yourself at whatever level you desire at that point in time for what you need to accommodate your various channels. And then I had the King of Pentacles show up with the Queen of Cups, which to me speaks very much to this masculine and feminine and how they're interacting now and how they've integrated now and helping each other. The King of Pentacles energy was telling me that, King of Pentacles knows their value, knows the value of their creations and their offering well. He knows them intimately because he's built them from scratch. He also knows their versatility and how they can be allocated in various ways to derive more value out of them. So this is now what the King of Pentacles' role is in your life. This masculine role is recognizing that you're versatile, and out of, again, this loyalty to you and wanting to look after your needs, is actually able to see all of the various channels of you, the various parts, and how they can all be leveraged on. And the Queen of Cups speaks very much around intuition, the receipt of information, the directions that she shares through her information, and also the abundance of wisdom and love and just general caring that flows through her, and can only actually flow through her when the masculine is healthy. Otherwise, everything will just spill to the ground. So this is still you. This is still you, but this is you interacting with your body and your information completely differently through a change in perspective, in terms of how you used to see things. And how you used to see things was because you had left a part of you behind. And when you were playing with your inner child, you were just playing with your inner child. You were not incorporating and integrating your inner child into your creations. So your inner child was like someone you'd invite now and again in an allocated space and allocated time. You'd play with them, and then you'd send them back to their corner. Whereas now I have you here with your King of Pentacles, and the King of Wands also comes up quite a lot. Your King of Pentacles and your Queen of Cups and your inner child all in one place that makes you very happy and leaves you feeling very calm, leaves you feeling very safe. When I checked into your base chakra, your root chakra, I saw comfortable, not worried. And so while this remains a period of unknown that's ahead of you, you're comfortable, you feel safe. You don't have concerns. In the cards, I got Lotus, Resurrection. And this is, I believe, the sense of comfort and where you are now, the stability that you're sitting on. Look how that flower is sitting on the water. And we forget that the lotus grows from the murkiest of water. And so because you know, this is your resilience, this is speaking to your resilience very much. But because you've had to live in that kind of water for so long, you're now able to appreciate the kind of beauty that comes of it. When I got to your throat chakra, I felt singing started coming up. I wrote down freedom and play. And here in the cards, I have butterfly, regeneration. And so that's what's been changing in your expression. And when I started off with my notes at the beginning, I shared that there was this white butterfly signifying, bringing a message of this transformation to your expression and the information that you're receiving. And it's because of this new sense of freedom that you have. Your heart is open, and it's not at that stage of having just cracked open. You've acknowledged that it cracked open, and it's like the windows are open, and you can everything is free to come in and go as it pleases. And that has really changed how your expression is coming through. I also feel very much that this is best noted through writing. And so through your writing, you'll be able to realize a lot more of what has actually changed. In your third eye, I mentioned this trumpet sound, that it's showtime. And in the cards, I got, and these don't usually fall upside down, but I got the sequoia tree, balance, and it came out in reverse. And so this spoke to me around not so much the direct meaning of the way the card would be if it had come out direct, but in reverse, it was giving me this message of, this 3 of Wands reversed, because these do look like wands to me. This 3 of Wands in reverse. 3 of Wands is usually a man waiting by a lake, waiting for ships to come in. And so this is you no longer waiting for information to come in. There's no waiting. It's like you're in your intuitive boom period, is almost how I want to describe it. And with that, there is a sense of this temporary loss of balance just because of the volumes. But again, through rest and through the writing, you'll be able to see that it's actually very organized. This is where they're wanting you to incorporate more thought to your intuition, into recognizing where it's at. And I don't know why I want to emphasize this more. I feel like I really need to say it's giving you so much information. Your intuition is giving you so much information that is so valuable for all areas of your life, including your work and your personal life. And it's all these things. It's all these things and very usable information. And so the reason I'm saying this is because all you need to do is set an intention for a wish, or like if there's something you want to create, or a feeling of something that's calling you and you're not too sure what it looks like and how it's going to be, and set that intention. Say, inner child, I want to play, I want to go in this direction, even if that direction feels counterintuitive because of where you're from, things that you left behind. If you feel pulled in that direction, continue to honor it, because they're going to then come in with the upgrades that you need and literally deliver it on your doorstep. 4224. Then in your crown chakra, I wrote here, impressions, Play-Doh. I literally saw almost like children's Play-Doh, and thumbprints being imprinted in there, impressions. And again, it's a child's hand. And the card that I got is Island Detachment. The greatest sense I get from this is around your mindset. This is around your limitations. This is around things you used to believe, which is the biggest shift that's happened here, is your perspective on how things were and how they are, which is actually very much determining how you're moving and how you're receiving information. And so you're realizing your sovereignty, you're thinking much more independently. Again, the people pleasing seems to have just fallen asleep overnight and forgot to wake up. That's actually how I feel about it. So you're seeing the need for you to be independently minded and to approach everything that you do in your life in this way. And these impressions, the Play-Doh also kind of reminds me of, somehow it's this, even the color of the Play-Doh, it actually very much looked like a brain. And it's as if these impressions are being made where you need to make them, and your ability to adapt, to change the impressions, former impressions that were imprinted in your mind and how you think and how you process information and how you perceive things. You are creating your own impressions. And so when you realize that there is a self-limiting belief, you are changing it. You are changing it, and also changing it to fit what you want it to create for you, where you want to be, how you want to feel, the things you want to do, the things you want to create. So this is why I say that you feel like a whole new person to me. You feel like a whole new person to me. 443311. I'm surprised I made it to this point of the reading, because I had so many things written down. I had so many things coming up in the cards. I had so much information that was coming through still. I just wasn't sure how I was going to deliver all those messages in an organized way. But I think I got through it. And currently that's how a lot of things feel. I've got lists and lists of things that I need to process. When I say need to process, I mean like various projects, things that I want to put together. So all of the information has been recorded. All of these things are there. It's just the executing on it and getting it out there. So I'm going to say now, I'm just going to ask the King of Pentacles to help me with my organization skills, actually the actual physical ones that execute. I've pulled a card from this Heart Path Oracle Cards deck. And it says, the intimate dance of beliefs and emotions. Immediately I'm seeing the butterfly again. So that's the third time the butterfly has come up in this reading. It says, there is strength in numbers. The card you have selected shows a stunning blue morpho butterfly in the center of a golden disc. Around the butterfly radiate 2 golden rings. The butterfly hovers over a galactic dance with 7 robed dancers dressed in the colors of the 7 chakras. 5 of the dancers are supporting the planet Neptune. 2 are holding up blue roses. Spinning around the 2 blue roses are 2 small blue moons. The 2 blue roses symmetrically balance the butterfly and planet. A powerful ray of light shoots forth from the center of the blue planet, forming a ring torus. The dancers wear animal symbols on their backs. In the dance, and the backdrop of the dance, is the universe. Your message. This message is for you and any close friends, family, or co-workers you have in your sphere. This is a dynamic time. The people in your life have choreographed a magical dance in this 3D world. Examine your beliefs and risk letting go of all you once knew to be true. The beautiful blue planet Neptune has appeared to show you a side of yourself that you never knew was there. Your inner eyes have been activated through meditation, self-reflection, and or journeying inward, and you have access to information that has eluded you in the past. Now is the time to take the lead in helping transform the planet. You are all more important than you realize. The 2 blue roses balancing the group confirm that miracles are possible. Your individuality is essential, but always find your community. It is important that you hold on to your dreams and trust your intuition. There are 7 animal guides, 1 on each of the dancers. Deer for love, a rabbit for luck, a dolphin for friendship, a snake for rebirth, a frog for renewal, a horse for freedom, and a hummingbird for joy. They are here to escort you to new insights and adventures. Connect with them whenever you need their support. They will always answer. Affirmation. I am an influential individual who draws strength from my community. I'm looking at this card more now and I'm realizing, look at all of these 7 dancers in their chakra colored dresses and how the root chakra and the crown chakra are anchoring this system, and how the third eye is in direct, almost, I want to say, relationship with the sacral chakra. And I believe this is how these creations are happening so quickly, and these manifestations is because your sacral chakra is renewing very rapidly, and your third eye is able to see those creations. So I'm seeing a coherence between your third eye and your sacral chakra. 48. And so now, once you find that acceptance of your own pace, is how it's coming through to me. Once you accept your own pace, this coherence is going to work and build you a momentum that you've not seen before come through yourself. Yeah, they are very much confirming. This has always been a point of confusion for me. I'm just sharing now personally this idea of structure. And after everything we've discussed, this very much feels like you're being called to give yourself the kind of structure that you need intuitively. And so all of the expectations you had around, impressions you made on yourself in terms of how things work out there, that doesn't apply to you. You're an individual with your own needs. And so this is not a matter of you're not showing up. It's that how you show up is very much self-determined. and to honor your feelings and to honor what your intuition's telling you about your needs at that time, because you are operating very much in this greater sense of divine timing. And so as things come up for you, don't feel so pressurized to perform in a timing and a regularity that's aligned to what you've seen out there. And because you've sort of formed this expectation of yourself based on external. And so you're being pulled back into your internal. And I also love how the throat chakra, heart chakra, and the solar plexus are all together here, bringing your message forward. I see here that they're holding Neptune. That was also in the card. I've looked up Neptune energy, and it says Neptune is often associated with intuition, dreams, spirituality, and creativity. It's seen as a planet that encourages us to explore the mystical, spiritual, and subconscious aspects of our lives, and to trust our inner wisdom. Neptune's energy can also lead to a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things and inspire us to embrace universal compassion. So this is very much speaking to me about all of these feelings coming through in truth, and a lot of all these subconsciously suppressed parts of you that are coming through. And they're not coming through as much for healing as they are for their value. And so you're regarding yourself completely differently. You're looking at your past and your subconscious completely differently. I want to take this moment also to just thank you so much for your community. It's so valuable to me, and I'm so grateful for how you honor my pace and you don't place any expectations on me in terms of, my regularity and the pace at which I post. I'm very much a person who listens to my body and I listen to my feelings. And so depending on how I feel, that's what determines whether I will share or not. And so that's why I also write down a lot of my downloads, especially now. I feel so many upgrades taking place and all need to be honored. And so that rest is important. And if my throat is not opening up, the vocal aspect of me, if it's asking to be expressed in writing, I'm honoring that. Another thing that came up for me today as I was sleeping, our power went out for most of the day. And so I just wrote more. But I decided to nap because it was also just getting frustrating. I was like, maybe we should just rest, just lean into the interruption of my plans. But I actually was just contemplating this idea of using this other channel of mine that's opened up. When I say other channel, I mean, let's say, for example, here I have pyramid energy. And so this is a channel for all of my energy with yours. It's all of our energy, and it's a certain path in my being that I tap into when I share messages with you. And so that's how I know the information I'm receiving is not for anything else. When it comes through for pyramid energy, I can feel that it's pyramid energy. But this new path is a path very much related to, I want to say my past, but that's very much an identity I still need. It's like I had put my physical identity on pause for many years. And so I'm going to share a link to my Instagram page. This is now my personal Instagram page. I went through a time where I completely deleted absolutely all the history. I just did, but this was also something I did for my creativity, because slowly I've been posting more stuff on there. This is my wish to show up in my society, in my physical life, in my identity as who I am, with what I want to share. And so through that channel, I've actually requested Spirit share what that channel wants to know. So if you're interested, please feel free to follow me there. It also just feels like a reclaiming of my full self, which I'd like to invite you to do, to reclaim your full self, because I actually did get comfortable in this space where I have these separate identities. And it's taken a long time to integrate this. It's taken a very long time. I just feel about it very differently now than I did even a week ago. I just feel very differently about all of it. And I'm also finding as I encounter people, I used to keep pyramid energy to myself. It was like this baby and this happy place that I kept aside for myself so that I could enjoy it freely with all of you. And I believe that was related to a witch wound, that was related to the parts of me that didn't want anyone who knows me around here to know how psychic I am. And this is not so much about, I used to carry a lot of shame around how psychic I am. And a lot of that shame was actually because there are so many things that are loaded onto this term psychic. I mean, we are all psychic. We are all psychic. And the more we clean up our channel and clean up our lives and clean ourselves up and our relationship with ourselves, the more this channel opens. This psychic ability is always there. It's more around your relationship with it, one's own relationship with it, and how you're filtering. Your filter of your information could be clogged. And as you clean up that filter, it comes through in a fresh and renewed way, more clean, more truthful, more honest. And so I had this fear that everyone will think that I can now see right through them and see their entire life. And I'm like, first of all, I have better things to do, Like, I actually don't want to tap into stuff that is not for my benefit and is not valuable information that I can use. And so now I feel very much like I'm approaching my own space and my own life as a matter of choice. And one of these choices is, do I need to hide any part of myself? And the answer to that is no, I don't. Because what happens when you do that, you also lose a lot of the opportunities that could flow through being free in all those aspects of yourself. So I suppose you could see that as my way of compartmentalizing my identity. And so now I've opened the drawers, and here we're breathing, we're organizing information, we're clearing up, we're chucking what we don't like, we're introducing some new stuff, and that's how I feel. And I feel it's brought me into a greater level of self-acceptance, and I'm able to, I don't have to walk around with a cloak. I feel like I don't have to walk around with a cloak. I used to also have this, also related to the witch wound, this feeling that if people find out about this aspect of me, I'll no longer be an option as their friend or their whatever. And that has disappeared. It feels like it's gone away overnight, because I feel like the level to which I'm able to embrace myself and all these parts of me, because they all have so much goodness to offer, not just other people, but myself as well, and even the freedom that comes with it, and being able to transform these parts of me actively because I've accepted that they're there and how they can each interplay with each other, all of that. I'm finding this approach really cleaning up my life for me, because it's naturally sending away all the energy that I don't really want in my life anymore and making room automatically for all the energy that I do want. And so while I felt rejected before by this society, I realized that that was my perception. That was all on me. And it was about how much I could handle at the time and how much more I needed to realize about myself at the time. But now I'm able to offer this space. The intention I've set with Spirit is, please offer these people what they'd like, what they need to hear from me. Because if I'm going to say anything, let it be something that needs to be said. Sometimes it's a personal story, and other times it's wisdom. And I'm finding that wisdom coming through in a slightly different language. And it's less deep compared to pyramid energy. And this is not to say that it lacks depth. This is not to say that it is shallow. It's wisdom. But the way that it's packaged, I'm just observing it. The way that it's packaged is more accessible. So I do believe you might find something there for yourself. I'm definitely finding very healing story coming through there for myself. And it's also giving me an opportunity to share these parts of myself with people I know, because there was this discomfort that I used to sit with that says like, Khonze, you're growing, you're expanding, you're evolving, but you're evolving far away from home, and the environment that you still exist in doesn't feel like home anymore because you're hiding yourself. You're hiding yourself. And so for me, that's been a lot more writing and a lot more sharing of my voice and these things that I felt may have been intimidating before, but it is me, it is my energy, and take it or leave it. In closing, I just want to say, as you move through this transition into this, this new body of yours, while you're getting organized, please remember to be gentle on your body and to be gentle on your mind in terms of your expectations of it during this transitionary period. Drink lots of water, get some sun, and lots of rest, and write. I think those are the 4 pieces of advice I really do have big time this week, is to do those 4 things as all of this integrates. This is a very good time. I've also left a link to my Patreon shop below in the description box. There are many offerings there, not that many, but please do have a browse if you feel called, because it's a very healing space. I often refer personal reading clients to certain readings there, and I refer to them myself. I go, listen, I found a lot of healing through those containers that were created for Patreon. Sending you so much love.